Troy Engines Limited manufactures a variety of engines for use in heavy equipment. The company has always produced all of the necessary parts for its engines, including all of the carburetors. An outside supplier has offered to sell one type of carburetor to Troy Engines for a cost of $35 per unit. To evaluate this offer, Troy Engines Limited has gathered the following information relating to the cost of producing the carburetor internally. Two-thirds of the traceable fixed manufacturing overhead is depreciation on special equipment with no alternative use, and the other one-third is salaries. Assuming that the company has no alternative use for the facilities that are now being used to produce the carburetors, should the outside supplier's offer be accepted? When we first compare the cost to buy of $35 with the $42 cost per unit, our initial inclination suggests that it would be better to purchase the carburetors externally. But we need to perform a differential cost analysis. In other words, look at the cost that would change if we were to purchase the carburetors externally. Let's begin with our direct materials cost. Our direct material cost can be avoided if we purchase the carburetors externally. Direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead are by definition avoidable costs, and if we don't produce the units, we will not incur these costs. Direct labor then, also the $10 per unit, is an avoidable cost that we can eliminate if we purchase the carburetors externally, as is our variable manufacturing overhead of $3 per unit. For the fixed manufacturing overhead of $6 per unit, we were told that two-thirds was for depreciation on equipment with no alternative use. This is a sunk cost that we will incur whether we purchase the carburetors externally or build them ourselves. The other one-third, or $2, is for salaries that could be avoided if we purchase the carburetors externally. The fixed manufacturing overhead that's allocated is not relevant to our decision. We will incur that cost whether we purchase the carburetors externally or make them internally. Thus, the entire relevant cost for making the carburetors internally is $20 per unit, which is less than the $35 per unit purchase price. Troy should continue to make carburetors internally. If, on the other hand, suppose that the carburetors were purchased and Troy Engines Limited could use the freed capacity to launch a new product, and that the segment margin for this new product would be $150,000 per year, should Troy Engines accept the offer to buy the carburetors for $35 per unit? We need to consider first the avoidable cost if the part is purchased externally, and that was going to be $435,000 per year, the $29 per unit times 15,000 carburetors that we need. The segment margin on the new product line was going to be $150,000. We need to compare these two with the cost of purchasing the carburetors from an outside supplier, which is $525,000, which was the $35 per unit times 15,000 units. Thus, the company will save in total $60,000 if it purchases the carburetors externally and uses the freed facility space to launch a new product line.